This is a pretenser from cinemadailyus.com, and I'm thrilled to be speaking with Sophie Hyde, the director of Good Luck to You, Leo Grande. How are you, Sophie?
I'm good, Abe. Thanks. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to be speaking with you because I've seen your previous films, 52 Tuesdays and Animals, and it's great to see these three films, which I wouldn't say have all that much in common.
I think they have quite a lot in common, but I really like that you said that. So thank you.
Well, let's start with that. What do you think unites them?
Yeah, I guess on the surface, they're really different movies. You know, one's a family drama and it's quite experimental, and one is a party film about two friends who drink too much and take too many drugs, and one is about an older woman wanting to have good sex for the first time. But they're all stories about people trying to find a kind of freedom, I think, in the kind of lives that they've been given or that they've taken for themselves, and trying to find true freedom, not just like a rejection of something, but what do they really want? How do they really feel? How do they fit into kind of society, but still find freedom in that? Yes, I think they're all about that. They're all about intimacy and connection, and trying to sort of navigate how that feels when you change, when you start to shift who you are. So I suppose in those ways, they feel similar to me. And the endings, all the endings are almost the same, which I feel like I shouldn't say, like it should be a secret, because I don't know how that's happened.
I think they also all have two people at the center, which I know is not so uncommon for films, but they're especially really just all two-handers.
They are, and they're not romantic. So they're not about romantic love at the center of the film. Yeah.
Well, I'd love to come back to those films later, but let's talk about the movie we're here to talk about, which is the fantastic Good Luck to You, Leo Grande. What initially interested you in this story?
Yeah, I was sent this script, and it was like this one woman is waiting in a hotel room, and she wants to have good sex for the first time in her life. So she's hired a sex worker. And that woman will be played by Emma Thompson. That was the email, basically. And I just thought, oh my gosh, like, not only would I love to work with Emma Thompson because, you know, she's so skillful and she seems so brilliant, but the concept was really great. And together they just seemed perfectly matched to me. And I also knew that those ideas of connection, intimacy, sort of like dealing with bodies as well as intellectual and emotional ideas, would be possible in a film like this. And I also liked that it was funny. And I really liked that it was coming at it as a comedy, but I knew it could be rich and real, but that at its core, it was going to be entertaining.
And I don't think this is really the kind of portrayal of a sex worker that we've seen, certainly not of a male sex worker. What kind of research did you do to make sure that this was being, portrayed accurately?
Yeah, I was really drawn to this part of it too, because I am really interested in professional intimacy. And I think Leo is a kind of character that feels very familiar to me. But when I came on, I wanted to talk to lots of people who had lived experience of sex work. And so we talked to a lot of people that had really very different experiences and came from really different places. And we found those people through kind of sex worker-led organizations who exist all over the world and are brilliant at speaking about their experience. And a few of those people became very significant to us in terms of the consultation. And that was just about uncovering sort of stories and things that kind of gave us a freedom to create a very specific character, I think. But also just checking things like, well, this doesn't seem realistic. Or even in the edit suite, they were still sort of checking that they were never going to say, no, don't do this. They were always going to say, oh, this feels more like something, or that's sort of undermining this position. And they were really fantastic consultants. And they just reminded us all the time of something that seems very obvious, but is fundamental to this, which is that sex work is work, that it's a job, that Leo comes in and no matter how good at it he is, and I love him because he's trying to be very good at his job, but it's still his job and he still walks away with money, and it's a really important part of it. And that reminder actually, again, it's sort of making the work more interesting for us. Yeah.
Do you think that the type of sex work portrayed is specific to the UK, or if the story could easily take place in Australia or the United States, would it play out differently somehow, the industry-wise?
I think there would always be little specifics that are different wherever you go, But I think, the portrayal of sex work is an interesting question because we have seen such a limited vision of it, as you say, particularly male sex workers. I mean, and when there's anything where there's like really underrepresented people or excluded people, let's say, then there's a feeling that once you start doing it, you should represent everything about that person. But what I love about this is that this is a person like many of the sex workers we met who's, autonomous. He's chosen the career that he's in. He's very good at it. And I think those people exist all over the world. I think there's all different kinds of people in these jobs. And I think, the job can be really boring. It can be a bit dangerous sometimes because it's not looked after and protected. Or it can be really thrilling and the connection can be really amazing. Just sort of like any job, you have all of those people. I think it's specific to the place in some ways. But I also think, people like this have existed forever doing this kind of work and kind of healing people, kind of being there for people in a way that, we don't always give people the chance to have, connection with somebody properly. Yeah.
I think most people will be familiar with Emma from something, but Daryl maybe not. What did you know him from before this?
I didn't know him before we started looking. And I had this great thing where I got to watch so much material from great, amazing actors from around the world. And I knew it was it was a role that was a real opportunity for an actor to show what they could do. When we met Daryl, Emma was a big part of the casting process with me as well. And when we met Daryl, when we saw his material and his tapes, I liked the layers that he'd brought. There was some really interesting dynamic that happened and he felt very good. But because we didn't know his work that well, it still felt a bit risky, But Emma and Daryl met and they had a really strong kind of chemistry and a really strong security with each other straight away. And physically they kind of worked and that made a big difference because then you get in and he's an actor, he's a skilled person. So then you get in and you just do the work that you need to do. And he showed us, what beautiful work he can do.
I think he's going to be very big after this too. That for anybody who didn't know him, they'll certainly know him here.
Yeah, I hope so.
And you've had the chance to premiere your previous films at Sundance. And this year that was supposed to be the case, but then things went virtual. Can you just talk about what that experience was like?
Yeah, it's so amazing for me going to Sundance because my other films have been there and it really was, those guys have really been champions of mine and really changed the trajectory of my career. But I continue to want to go back all the time. And it was really sad that it moved online. It was still great to participate. We did all this virtual stuff but of course I wanted to go and see this, with an audience and with a filmmaking community. But we then went and did Sundance London. And so that was wild. And just that was people in a room all together talking, looking at a movie that was about connection and intimacy and feeling a feeling all together. And, I hadn't realized how much I missed that. Yeah. So, yeah, look, I think they did a great job and I know why they moved it online. It really does make sense, like we're doing right now. I wish we were sitting in the same room with each other, but we're kind of all getting used to this now. Yeah.
Where are you right now?
New York City.
Okay, so are you involved with the film's Tribeca premiere also?
Yeah, we've got the Tribeca premiere tonight. That's why we're here. Do some chatting to people, go to the premiere, do some talking to audiences. It's going to be so fun.
And how do you feel about the fact that the film is coming to Hulu?
Great, yeah. I think the Searchlight team here are amazing and I love working with them. And I've been so, the boom, 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 came up at the beginning of the movie after they picked it up. And that's a thrilling moment as a filmmaker, right? Iconic. And then the Hulu thing, there's a part of me, of course, that I love it in the cinema. And I think the work is so strong there. But I also recognize that the Hulu release means that people can see it everywhere. They don't have to be in the major cities and people that are still nervous about going to the cinemas can still watch it. And really the main goal that we've always had with this film is that people see it, enjoy it, and get a chance to talk about it. And I hope people are talking about it a lot. And I think it will reach more people with this kind of platform. So I just can't wait. I don't know what the day feels like when it goes up. It's like, come on, let's go.
That's great. I also, if I'm not mistaken, I believe the Animals never got a US release, right?
Yeah, that was a really disappointing thing for us. I still find it perplexing because it's a really fun movie, plays really well, and it just never really was seen here apart from Sundance. And it's sad. I hope people can get to go and watch it now.
I think about it a lot. I think about them walking around and finishing, combining all the wines after all the parties. And especially, I hadn't seen Holiday before that. And then seeing her in The Capture after is just such a starkly different role. And so, Alia Shawkat, I'm much more familiar with, because she's American. But I think that's really a phenomenal film. And I do hope that there are people who will look at the Sophie Hyde catalogs. Like, what else can we look back? Because I also believe that 52 Tuesdays was not necessarily ahead of its time, but I feel like I see a lot of stories sort of like that now. And even I think that was 2014, right?
13, yeah.
13, that even then, I don't think I was seeing as much then about that.
It felt like we were kind of researching and coming to something that we had to explain to people, a lot more than we would have to now. That experience doesn't feel so outside of everything now. But, Animals, I really hope people see it because Holly is great. You're right. Like there's something about her as an actor that I wish that I don't know how much she's been seen by American audiences, but she is gorgeous. She just shines on screen to me. Yeah.
So what's next for you after this?
Well, I have a really personal story about my family, and it's sort of like a multi-generational queer family drama comedy. And I really hope that's going to be next.
Hopefully we'll see that one at Sundance, right? That's the trend.
Yes, I hope so.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to speak with me today. For more great content like this, you can subscribe to the Cinema Daily US YouTube channel. Make sure to watch Good Luck to you, Leo Grande on Hulu, and try to figure out where you can watch Animals if you're in the United States.
Yes. Thank you. Great to talk to you.
Thank you so much. Take care.